My name is Lydia Hart, and on the night my brother decided to mock my failed career in front of 200 wedding guests. I stood quietly at the edge of the Lakeshore Grand Ballroom, wondering how many more years my family would keep mistaking silence for weakness. The chandeliers glowed like molten gold above the crowd, but I stayed near the shadows holding a glass of champagne I had barely touched. I could still hear Ethan's voice echoing across the room, bright and confident, the same tone he'd used our entire lives whenever he wanted the world to laugh with him at my expense. He was on stage because the photographer needed a few more shots, but he never wasted an audience. So he looked straight at his groomsmen and joked about how his big sister still couldn't hold down anything more impressive than a small consulting gig. Laughter spread like ripples in a pond. I felt every one of them. My mother covered her reaction with a polite smile, leaning toward a guest to whisper something that I knew wasn't in my favor. My father lifted his glass toward Ethan as if proud of the punchline. I stayed still, steadying my breath, reminding myself that this was his night, not mine. But the thing about long-held family narratives is that they become comfortable illusions, and illusions, no matter how carefully protected, don't survive the truth. The ballroom doors opened behind me. A hush fell over the crowd as heads began turning toward the entrance. I didn't look right away, but I heard the shift in energy, surprise, curiosity, awe. Then a familiar voice carried across the room, directed not at the groom or the bride, but at me. "Ms. Hart, I didn't expect to find you here." And just like that, everything changed. The moment Charles Norwood's voice cut through the ballroom, the chandeliers seemed to dim. One moment, I was the quiet sister at the edge. The next, every guest was staring, waiting for an explanation I didn't intend to give. Charles reached me before Ethan did. His handshake was firm and familiar. Something shared between equals, not strangers. On stage, Ethan's smile faltered as he realized something was wrong. My mother eyed me sharply, and my father slowly lowered his champagne. Charles excused himself, but the whispers began immediately. Guests who'd ignored me earlier now tried to fit me into a story they clearly didn't know. Ethan finally approached, tension in every step, Olivia close behind with her bouquet clutched tight. "What was that?" he muttered. "Why does he know you?" "You can ask him," I said. "That's not funny," Olivia added, strained. "You made him look confused." "I didn't say anything," I replied. He came to me. My mother slipped in pearls, trembling. "Lydia, if there's something we should know, this isn't the time for games." Before I could answer, the band started a new song, and dinner was announced. I could have faded back, but Ethan leaned in, whispering a brittle warning. "Don't make tonight about you. I won't let you embarrass me." The irony settled sharply between us. Dinner had barely started when the whispers spread again. Guests kept sneaking glances. Even the waitstaff hesitated near my seat. At the head table, Ethan was restless eyes flicking to the entrance. Olivia's smile strained. Her father, Victor Grant, watched me with too much interest. I understood if I were the head of a struggling company, I'd want answers too. Then the ballroom doors opened. Charles returned with 2 board members, and the room tightened instantly. Executives didn't appear at weddings without reason. He scanned the tables, spotted me, and nodded, subtle but impossible to ignore. Ethan rushed toward him. "Mr. Norwood, I'd love to introduce you to," but Charles was already looking past him. "Actually, I need to speak with Ms. Hart again before I leave." The room rippled. "You want to talk to her?" Ethan stammered. "Yes, we still have a few points regarding the acquisition." The word hit like a cymbal crash. Olivia nearly dropped her bouquet. My mother gasped. My father paled, realizing just how little he knew. Charles gestured. "Ms. Hart." I set down my napkin and stood feeling dozens of eyes follow me. My family had always insisted I wasn't worth noticing. Tonight I watched that belief finally fracture. Charles led me down a short hallway lined with framed photographs of past events at the Lakeshore Grand. The moment the ballroom doors closed behind us, the noise dimmed into a distant hum, like the city itself was holding its breath. He stopped beside a small private lounge, opened the door for me, and stepped back. "I apologize for causing a stir," he said quietly. "I didn't realize your family wasn't aware of your involvement." "It's fine," I replied. "They never ask." He considered that with a faint, sympathetic exhale, then nodded once, and returned to the ballroom. The lounge door clicked shut behind me, leaving a pocket of silence so complete I could hear the faint thumping of my own pulse. I barely had time to sit before the door swung open again, this time without courtesy. My mother stormed in first, followed by my father with Ethan and Olivia closing the door behind them. The four of them moved in a tense cluster like a jury that hadn't agreed on a verdict but was determined to reach one. "What is going on?" My mother demanded, her voice trembling, not with fear, but with indignation. "Why is that man talking to you like you're someone important?" The phrasing stung even if I'd expected it. My father stepped forward, closing the distance between us. "Lydia, this isn't the moment for secrets or theatrics. Just tell us what he meant." I folded my hands calmly. He meant exactly what he said. Ethan looked almost nauseous. "Acquisition clarification. Are you doing something with Norwood? With my company?" Olivia touched her husband's arm as if steadying herself. "Your company, Ethan?" He made it sound like she's above you. My mother's glare could have sliced glass, Lydia explained. I took a slow breath. Heartline Strategies is not a small consulting outfit. It hasn't been for years. We've been leading a buyout of Norwood Dynamics for the past 9 months. My father's jaw dropped. My mother gasped. Olivia stepped back, a full-foot wedding gown rustling like she was afraid it would catch fire. Ethan stared at me as if seeing a stranger wearing my face. "That's impossible. You're not capable," I offered. "Successful, worth taking seriously," his silence answered for him. My mother shook her head, whispering, "But you've never said anything." "You've never listened," I corrected gently. For a moment the room was still, heavy, full of truths they didn't want but could no longer escape. And in that suspended quiet I realized something important. This wasn't the collapse of their worldview. It was the first time they were standing in mine. A week passed, though it felt much longer, like the wedding had cracked something open and none of us had figured out how to put the pieces back. From my 42nd floor office overlooking the Chicago River, I tried to focus before the Norwood board meeting. But quiet never lasts when family is involved. Maya appeared at the door. "Your brother's here. No appointment." "Send him in," I said. Ethan walked in looking wrinkled, exhausted, and nothing like the confident VP he pretended to be. He stopped in front of my desk. "They're reviewing my department," he said. "My numbers decisions. Everything. Charles hasn't said it, but I know what's coming." I closed my laptop. "What do you want from me?" "A chance," he whispered. "You're restructuring. You have influence. If you tell them I'm worth keeping, they'll listen." Then softer, "I'm asking as your brother." For once he wasn't arrogant, just afraid, and honest. "You never thought I deserved the opportunities you got," I said. "Why should I think you deserve the ones you want now?" His silence answered for him. Before I could continue, voices sounded outside. My office door opened despite Maya's attempts to stop them. My parents swept in, tense and desperate. My father spoke first. "We know you're deciding Ethan's future today. We're asking you to protect him, just this once." My mother added, "He's worked hard. You can't let one bad year ruin everything." I stood, feeling the years of distance between us. This isn't about ruining anything. It's about accountability, something you never expected him to face. My father pressed, "We're family, doesn't that matter?" "It does," I said. "But family should mean support, not entitlement. Not one child sacrificing so the other can shine. Today, I'm responsible for employees, investors, a company's future, not your expectations. I won't compromise that." Maya reappeared. "Your car is ready, Ms. Hart." I took my jacket. My parents looked hurt. Ethan looked terrified. And for the first time, I felt clear. The real shift hadn't happened at the wedding, it was happening here in my space on my terms. Their world just hadn't caught up yet. The boardroom on the 41st floor overlooked Steel River and Winter Light. The skyline felt cold, but the air inside was sharper. Maya walked me to the door, then stepped back. 15 faces turned toward me, some curious, some wary, as if waiting to see how the woman who had come out of nowhere planned to reshape their world. Charles rose with a respectful nod. "Ms. Hart, shall we begin?" I sat at the head of the table and opened my folder. The city reflected behind them like a silent witness. I walked them through Heartline's restructuring plan departments. Bleeding money would be consolidated, inefficient divisions removed, leadership roles judged by performance, not tenure or family ties. The message beneath the charts was clear. The old Norwood culture of favors and blind spots was done. A board member asked, "And the current VP of Business Development?" The room stilled. "That position will be dissolved," I said. "It no longer fits the structure needed." A few exchanged glances. However, the current VP may apply for a frontline sales role, entry-level, results-based. Through the glass, I saw them waiting. My father stiff, my mother anxious, Ethan sinking into a chair as if finally absorbing what denial wouldn't protect him from. Charles nodded. "Fair. More than fair." Another board member added, "This is the clearest plan we've seen in months." The vote was called. In under a minute, it was unanimous. Norwood Dynamics was officially under Heartline's control. Afterward, Charles pulled me aside. "Your brother will have a chance to rebuild." "I know, and you're all right with that. This was never about destroying him. It's about securing the company." I stepped into the observation lounge where my family waited stunned. My mother whispered, "We didn't know it would end like this." "It didn't end," I said. "It changed." My father adjusted his glasses. "Surely you can revise your recommendation for Ethan. A compromise." Compromise. The word that shaped my childhood. "No," I said. "The plan stands." Ethan lifted his red eyes. "So you decide everything now?" "No. You do. The sales role is yours if you want to rebuild. If not, you can walk away. But this time, your future depends on you, not Dad." He swallowed. "I don't know if I can start over." "That's the difference," I said softly. "I had to. You get to." My mother's voice shook. "We were wrong. We should have listened." Their regret came too late. "The contracts go out tomorrow," I said. "Decide what you want." I stepped toward the hallway. "I have another meeting." When the elevator doors closed, it felt like the final line of a chapter years overdue. That evening, Chicago felt different. On my rooftop terrace, I sipped a glass of amber dusk and watched the river reflect the last light. For the first time in a long while, I had no mask to hold. I took out my grandmother's pocket watch, her engraved message still legible. "Time will prove what words never could." She told me the world often misunderstands quiet ambition until results make it undeniable. Tonight I finally understood. My phone buzzed. Maya's message confirmed the signatures Norwood's transition was officially underway. Then another notification. "Incoming call, Ethan." His name glowed like a ghost of past versions of us, of the boy I used to protect, the man who now had to choose his own path. I watched the call vibrate against the railing. For a moment I considered answering out of habit, but that version of me was gone. The call faded. Silence returned lighter than before. I closed the watch and slipped it back into my pocket, letting the wind sweep across my face. The city pulsed below, indifferent and alive. "I'm Lydia Hart," I whispered, and for the first time the name felt like freedom.